We've got Xbox news, we've got Disney and Epic Games news, and I want to talk a little bit more about Suicide Squad. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Busy Sticks. I'm Josiah Leroy. With me today, my right-hand man, Mr. John Fick. John, do you ever just sit and think about how blessed we were to get the starting lineup, the launch lineup of the PlayStation 5? We had Spider-Man Miles Morales. We had Astro. It was a blast.
I think about that all the time. I think that the PlayStation 5 was one of my favorite launches ever because there was a built-in pack-in game in Astro that was just such a fun time to explore the new features of the system, and it was an excellent game, and we had a banger of a game that we've been anticipating in the next Spider-Man title. I don't know if there is a console that had me more hyped, maybe besides the Switch. The Switch was also a pretty special one, but in terms of a new console plus games that I'm just absolutely pumped to play for it, yeah, those are the two right there, the Switch and the PS5.
PS5 also had Sackboy, which is a very underrated title, I think. And then a lot really in its launch window. And Ratchet and Clank not all that long after it. So I was playing Astro earlier. We'll get more into that and what's in our system in a moment. But I was just sitting there thinking like, man, that is one of the best launch lineups I think ever.
Yeah, and I mean it's not that deep, but man, just like the fact that there's a couple of really can't miss games that came at launch. You don't really see that too often.
No, you definitely don't. Yeah, I mean, you might get lucky with one or two mega hits and nothing else, or you could get something like we saw at the Series X. So anyway, this is not an Xbox bashing podcast. What am I doing here?
Not yet.
Not yet. It's not. We're going to get into some news later, as mentioned. But before we talk about what's in our system, what's in our video game consoles, on the show, we also like to have a beverage while we play. So typically that's beer. John, what's about to be in your system here on Busy Sticks?
So this one is technically a repeat, but I'm going to let myself have this one because it's a fun repeat for a cool reason. You know my love for Fiddlehead. You know that I think that the Fiddlehead IPA is one of the best values in beer. They just started putting the second Fiddle, the double IPA, in 12 packs. 12-ounce cans, 12 packs. So that's new. You used to only be able to get the double IPA, second Fiddle, in the Tall Boys, the 4 packs. So that's new. That just hit the shelves at Wegmans last week. My wife saw it when she was shopping. She's like, do you want this? I'm like, yeah, I want that. Absolutely, I want that. So it's a repeat beer. I'm a big Fiddlehead, second Fiddle fan, but it's in a new form factor. It's like it's second Fiddle Slim, if you will.
Is the Portal 2 a Switch exclusive? Yes, I want that. Of course I do. All right. That's a good value. You are right there. Also, I misspoke. I meant GameCube, not Switch, but it's okay.
Same thing.
So John, I technically don't have a beer, but I think this is the first appearance of a cider on our show here.
Oh, it's got to be.
I'm pretty sure it is. I've never had one. I don't think you ever did.
No, I don't think so. I love a good cider though.
But there's a good reason behind it. I saw this can. I've never had anything from Citizen Cider, who made this cider, and it's kind of a really almost an anniversary for us, John. 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, we got to podcast with Greg Miller.
Oh yeah!
And what better way than to commemorate that than by drinking something that is called a Baker's Dozen?
Oh, that's so good.
So I'm excited. Normally, I like ciders. They're not my go-to, but this one I just could not pass up. So that's what's going to be in my system here. I'll have my review shortly.
That's a fun one. Awesome. Very cool. I love love a good topical beverage.
Cheers, my brother. Man.
That looks so refreshing. Cider always looks so refreshing. It's just so good.
It's refreshing.
Awesome. I don't know what it is about like a freshly poured cider, but it's so clear, it's so fizzy. It just looks like a nice warm summer day beverage for me.
It totally does. I like it. It's not the most full flavor ever, but it is really crisp. And I feel like I'm quenching my thirst as I have it, so that's a good thing. We've got no show and tell this week, but John, do we have the fantasy draft pulled up? The fantasy league pulled up at all?
But we can do that in just a few seconds. I forgot about that. Good pivot. So we've got some updates, some scores hit. We've got some new games added, a new counter pick, if I'm not mistaken. I'll turn it over to you for that. Yes, I've got it up now. Couple of things happened since the last episode. So So I don't know what was on the board. I think we did a show 2 weeks ago. So Tim has Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. I think that's a new score that hit since then. Tim got an 82 with that one. I believe Persona 3 Reload was already scored during our last one. If not, he's got a nice 89 there. Dropped a few points. I think it was like a 92 at one point, and now it's down to an 89. So he's lost a couple. He's lost a couple of points with time, but still, I think he'll take that 89 for sure. A big one for you. No, never mind. Not a big one for you. A big one for both JT and Derek is the fact that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League finally has some review numbers there. JT took Suicide Squad to be on his squad, and that's sitting at a 60 on OpenCritic right now. So he has a -10. That is the least amount of points someone has ever gotten from a game in the history of our fantasy league. Nobody's ever gotten a -10 before, which means that Derek, by counterpicking that, has a +10. Which is by far the most positive points anybody's ever gotten from a fantasy pick. Actually, the only time second time anybody's ever gotten positive points from a counter pick. And Derek was the first one as well. Back in 2021, Derek played with us. He also had, I think, positive points for Battlefield when he counter picked that. So Derek, great counter pick with Suicide Squad. Tough pick for JT.
Man, Suicide Squad. I mean, we're going to get to it in a minute, but this is Suicide Squad Kill JT's fantasy team. Am I right?
Seriously, it's tough to start off your year with a -10. You've got a new one on the board. You've got Helldivers that just hit. That game just came out late last week. I think 82 is a little bit low from what I've been hearing from the buzz about that game, but we'll see if anything changes. It is a live service game. I know there were some PC issues at launch. Shocker. But you got 82 there. So you're sitting at 32 points. You've already got Tekken 8 with a 90 and now Helldivers 2 with an 82. Doing pretty well. Only thing new from Derek, like I said, was that counter pick. And yeah, I got my first points on the board. I picked up Don't Nod's new game, Banishers Ghosts of New Eden, which is kind of like a spiritual successor to Vampire. Their last kind of like narrative action game. I'm always confident in Don't Nod. I don't think I'm ever gonna count them out when it comes to delivering at least a solid experience. Like we talked about this year, slim pickings out there. So you've got to get those 82s are really valuable. So I'm very happy with that. That was a free agency pickup for me. I paid $1 for it, and I've got my first points on the board. And I've got my first and only addition to my counter picks, which happens to be a game sitting on your roster. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. It was too good to pass up. I think it's going to be a good counter pick for me. I like that I stuck you with that one.
I knew I watch our episode where we drafted. I was not confident. I'm still not that game is coming out this year. We've already had one or two big conferences or direct style videos, and we've not gotten any news on that. Doesn't mean it can't change, but no. I don't think that's coming, and I'm okay set with a 0. Obviously, you never want a 0, but after some of the horrors and the negative points that we've seen in the last year, plus now with Suicide Squad, I'm okay playing it a little bit safe there. But it's a nice payoff if it does come out.
For sure, yeah.
Because I think that would be quite the swing.
I think the risk is a little bit on my end because a 0 for you is not that bad, but a negative 15, a negative 20 for me could be quite damning. So I think the risk is certainly on my end. But I was back and forth because I wanted to get that second counter pick locked in because there's not like the further you get in the year, the more sure we are of these release dates, right? So I'm like, there's got to be something on the board that I just got to scoop up now that I'm pretty confident we're not going to see. I was between this in Silent Hill 2. And my thought process was, well, we've at least seen Silent Hill 2. Yes, they did. Yes, they didn't give us a date. They said still in development. You can take that as a pretty good sign that it's not coming out this year. But we haven't seen anything more than Solid Snake come out of some water and then a splash screen. So that's where I'm at with it. Who knows? It could get its own PlayStation State of Play any day, and it could have a fall release date, and I could be screwed. But I'm taking the gamble. You got to do it. You got to risk it for the biscuit.
For sure. I did also. So I think 2 weeks ago now, JT also bid for this game, but I bid and won Stellar Blade. So $10 out of my gaming budget for that. That was about as high as I wanted to go with that. I'm not super confident in that game. However, from the PlayStation Direct, that's one that I keep going back to the trailer on. There's something about that game that just kind of speaks to me. And it's probably because it looks like there's some influence from Final Fantasy, which has been huge for me in the last 7-8 months. So
Sure.
we'll see. I'm hoping that game does well.
I actually bid on that game too. If you didn't get that, I would have had it. JT bid $1, you bid 10. I bid 7. My thought was, I thought it was about around a $5 value, and I start to get in my own head about that. Well, if someone might think the same thing and go 6, so I go 7. So that was my $5 value pick. $7 was what I was willing to spend on it. So you take it for 10. I think it was an interesting showing at the State of Play. The gameplay looks good, but tonally it looked a little weird, and that just very much may have been editing and like song choice for that State of Play. And I think that's what it was. But I wasn't like incredibly high on it. I think it's probably going to be a low 80s game, but that's it's good to have.
That's my hope at this point. That's what I want, especially for that value. I use the advice that my realtor gave me a few years ago. What's the highest bid that you can go for on a house? And if someone bid $1 more, you wouldn't be upset that you lost it, right?
Yep.
What's your utmost? So that's exactly what I was at. If you came in, or JT, with $11, I would have been like, it's all right. 10 was the max I wanted to go on that, especially not knowing what's going to be coming out later this year. So I think that's probably it for fantasy updates.
I believe so. I added also Rise of the Golden Idol. I think I did that before the last week. I don't know if anybody else added anything. Maybe Tim did.
That's about it.
Tim added Tales of Kenzera Zhao, I believe. That might be the last other thing that we didn't talk about. But games I haven't heard of, which is probably means they're going to be good.
Yes, especially the way Tim drafts. That's how it goes. All right, John, what have you been playing? What is in your system right now?
I have been playing a whole lot of Sea of Stars. I'm chugging my way through that game. I'm loving it. I really am. I talked about this in the chat earlier today, our video game chat. Games got to be shorter. All games got to be shorter. Take every game that's ever existed and shave 10 to 30% off of that game. They just need to be shorter. Sea of Stars, I know it's an RPG. I know that like when you hear RPG and it's a turn-based, old school style top-down RPG like that, people are expecting a meaty story. I understand. I'm just not here for that. I just want I wish this game was like a 17 to 20 hour experience. I'm 26, 27 hours into it. Again, I'm having a good time, but I would have liked to have wrapped it up by now. That being said, it is a blast. I'm still loving the gameplay. The story's cool. The music, unreal. What I will say for it is that story pacing wise, it's not getting stale. The fact that the game is drawn out a little bit longer than I wanted has not really affected the story. It's only gotten more interesting and more interesting. So that's a huge positive for it. I'm loving the story. I'm at a point right now. I just stopped playing before we started recording, where I'm like, yo, I need to pick the sticks back up and get back into this. So that's incredible. Certainly would have been on my top 10 game of the year list last year if I had gotten to it. Would have been probably pretty high up there in a year like that. That's saying a lot. Also, I did pick up and put a little time into The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. So I am committing to a platinum run, my first ever platinum in a Last of Us game. Which might sound crazy because that's like my favorite franchise of all time, but that's not the way I play those games. That's not the way I want to play those games. When I play The Last of Us, I am there for a sit down, jaw dropping experience where I'm just locked in on the story. And when I drop the controller, I just sit there and reflect on what that game what I just played. That's kind of the experience I look for when I play The Last of Us. But I want a platinum under my belt for that franchise. So I'm doing it. I've got a trophy. I've got a collectibles guide up as I do my playthrough. I'm not missing a single one. I'm just going through right now, experiencing the story, but also making sure I get all those collectibles and taking care of those trophies as I do it. I'm not too far. I'm on Seattle day 1 with Ellie and Dina. So relatively early on, but I'm going to commit to that platinum this year for sure.
I'm exactly where you are in Last of Us. I think I haven't played it for probably 3 weeks. I played it the first few days it came out, and then Final Fantasy VII took over a little bit, and then Suicide Squad. But that is going to be one I'm going to platinum as well. I should have done it on PS4, but as soon as they announced that this was going to drop, I was like, I'm just going to do it on the PS5. I did that for Last of Us Part 1 when that dropped 2 years ago, and that's a satisfying platinum. Nothing too crazy there. It's a rewarding collectibles list, I would say. Nothing too daunting, too over the line. And then also, if you miss stuff, you can play chapter by chapter, which thank goodness that's a thing. That should be a thing in all games once you beat them. So that's a game, man, I wish I could just sit and focus on right now because I loved it so much when it did drop. But Final Fantasy VII, I'm still making my way through. I picked that back up after a little hiatus. I'm on chapter 12, so I just went through like the haunted train yard, which was a really, really fun level.
That was a cool level.
Yeah, like the atmosphere is really, really epic there. Man, if you're new to Final Fantasy like me, and you're not really sure where to jump in, Final Fantasy VII Remake is a good jump in spot. The story is so much fun. Those characters are endearing. Can't recommend it enough. I am going to finish that before. Oh my gosh,
Rebirth.
Before Rebirth comes out. I know I've only got a few weeks, but that will be done. Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. I want to get into a discussion on that. I don't want to take too much time, but I do want to review it. I finished, basically rolled credits on it, and we had released a TikTok video about a week ago on just where I was mentally with the game about maybe 7-ish hours in or so. I had the caveat that I needed to finish the story before I could give it my full stamp of approval. I did come back down to earth a little bit after I finished that. Not that I expected the story to be mind blowing, but even with moderate expectations, it kind of fell flat, unfortunately. I'll say this: it's a Rocksteady story for the most part. I don't feel like it was too shoehorned with the service model. This feels like it's truly a fourth game in the Arkhamverse. If you're talking about the trilogy that they concocted with Batman Arkham Asylum, City, and Night, they reference a lot of what happened there. This Harley Quinn is absolutely the Harley Quinn from those games. If you were to, again, I feel like there's some unfair expectations out there with this game in a way where it's like no one wanted Rocksteady to make a shooter. We wanted an action adventure game like Batman set in somewhere in the DC universe. It's not what we got, and that's always been held against it. I would say if we're pitting this against Avengers that came out a few years ago, the Avengers story might be a little bit better, a little bit more satisfying, but I think this game does this kind of the service model better. We're splitting hairs here, but I'm just saying, if you had issues with grinding and trying to get where you had to go to level up with Avengers, which was a massive problem in balancing, especially post game, once you rolled credits, that is not an issue here. You can level up with relative ease. There's a lot to do. It can blur together pretty quickly and get repetitive, but the gunplay is actually really good. It's tight. Rocksteady did an amazing job with that. I think the overall the story was really good until probably about the last third here, and then it fell off the rails a little bit. It it's a hard thing to say, like you're going up against Batman and Superman, but it's the Suicide Squad, so it's silly, and it made sense from that standpoint on how you could defeat those characters. If you call back to Guardians of the Galaxy a few years ago, the video game, the story with how these characters interact and the ensemble reminds me of that. Like just the goofiness of that game, the comedy in that game, it works. It's actually funny. And I think the Suicide Squad on the big screen has fallen flat in several ways in the two iterations that we got. So I guess all in all, I probably land on I would say a generous 7 out of 10 with it. There is some quality in this game. I ran into 0 bugs, 0 drops, nothing like that. So it's well polished. There's something to be said for that, because so many AAA games come out, especially the service model like this, and they're not ready. They're not ready to go. So I applaud the delays that happen. Obviously, this game had no chance, it felt like, of coming back from the PR disaster, the nightmare of the last 2 years with it, pretty much since it was announced. So I don't envy Rocksteady. I just hope that it sells enough copies that Rocksteady doesn't get thrown away by WB, which is a major concern, because they've clearly got a lot left in the tank, in my opinion. So I'd be curious to see what some of the DLC looks like. I would come back to it. I don't think I'd pay for it. I'd have to see some free DLC to do that. But I enjoyed it. I'm happy it exists. I know most people out there are scoring it on average a 5 or 6 out of 10. I think 5 out of 10 is just unfair. I think there's a problem disassociating the expectations and what the actual game is, which is a looter shooter, from what the game ended up being. So I would say this: I encourage you, if you like the Rocksteady Arkham games at all, if you like shooters at all, play this game when you can get it at a discount. $30, $40. This screams like it's going to be on sale in June. Like it's only a few months down the line. I would say to play it. It's fine, especially if you want to go and play the campaign. Yeah, you'll spend anywhere from 9 to 12 hours in it, and that's not bad, right? That's decent value for it. It doesn't feel, again, to me, like it's shoehorned around the service model. Yes, it drops hints into what you're going to have to do essentially in the long haul, but to me, it doesn't feel like it just had to fit in a box. So I know Rashawn was definitely not as high on it as I was. We've talked about it in our group chat, but higher than he thought he would be.
Yeah,
so
I was impressed with that. Yeah, he was very much expecting it to be a dumpster fire. He was kind of buying it just to see how bad it was and to get a laugh out of it. But he said it wasn't bad at all. I'm happy that it didn't somehow end up worse than it could have been for you. I'm glad that it's, it was an enjoyable experience. It's not something you call a great game, but it was at least good. But yeah, I'm glad it hit those notes for you. Hearing your review, that puts me off on it even more. In not even the score and the story and stuff like that. More so like it is what I thought it was. I guess this is more about what I've seen from the game, less from your review. I have watched a good amount. I've watched Kind of Funny. I watched Greg Miller do a whole stream of this game, and just the structure of the story and getting from point A to point B and just defending an area and just shooting and having mini bosses that are just bullet sponges. I'm really not vibing with that. I'm kind of sick of that. That's really been a common thread these last couple of years. Not even with like live service games. There's been a lot of games that have like used that progression model and like that storytelling model. That's not my jam right now. I think I'd have to pick this game up on like a free games with gold or Game Pass or PlayStation Plus Extra. That's probably the only way I'd give it a shot. It's not my cup of tea, but I'm glad it hit for you in some way.
Yeah, for sure. This is not, the 9-year follow-up that I hoped we would get from Rocksteady, which is crazy to say. But it was enough of it was good enough for me to enjoy, I guess is a good way to put it.
Which is awesome. Glad that, especially with this thing was pushing a boulder up a hill the entire time. It had everything going against it. I would not be surprised if this game by fall is on Game Pass or on PlayStation Plus Extra. I don't think that's unrealistic.
The concurrent stream count, if we're only talking Steam, fell off by like 75% after 1 week, which is brutal. Funny enough, that people jumped off of that and jumped over to Arkham Knight, and that has seen a huge surge.
That's funny.
Okay, and glass half full, Rocksteady's getting some money from that at least. So
yeah, that's on Game Pass. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's where that's coming from mostly.
On Steam, you're saying?
Oh, you said Steam. I thought you expect concurrent players. Yeah. Got it.
This strictly just on Steam. So
good.
I'll take it. It's a $20 game on average right now, so it's not like it's raking in the big bucks, but it's keeping things alive and maybe getting some positive vibes for that game all these years later.
I could see this game having some legs if they're smart about sales and when they make this available on Game Pass and stuff like that, because they're going to support this game. There's going to be like big tentpole DLC, like your Destiny style, like this is the next expansion. If you can kind of plan some of those marketing beats around when the game takes discounts, I think the game could live on. I think there could be, I mentioned Destiny, the games like The Division, stuff like that. These games have gone through like transformations because of new DLC and new like reboots of the systems and stuff like that.
Yes,
it's not out of the realm of possibility that this could happen with Suicide Squad. All of a sudden next year, when the first major content update launches, and maybe this is on Game Pass, we could be having a different conversation. This could be like, oh wait a minute, the launch was just the beginning, and now there's a lot to do in this game.
If they can find a way to stoke that flame until that time comes. I mean, the best case scenario are the games you mentioned. It's No Man's Sky, it's Cyberpunk, even though those they're kind of different games. But those were dead. Like, so I don't recall a bigger PR disaster than Cyberpunk. Maybe even bigger than Suicide Squad, because Cyberpunk had the 100% utmost bigger expectations. Right? Like, that was a slam dunk game from the makers of The Witcher. And then that happened. And then here we are a few years later, and people love that game after a few updates. They pivoted. So I'm not totally optimistic that will happen with Suicide Squad, but you're saying there's a chance,
For
let's
sure.
go. So yeah, I'd put a bow on it. I'd put a 7 out of 10 on the Suicide Squad. I know that's about as high as I've seen out there. Pick it up when it inevitably goes on sale or on Game Pass later this year. John, ready to get into the news?
Let's do it.
Right. All right. So first up, talking about Xbox, there's been a lot of rumors. Man, Xbox just can't stay out of the news here in 2024. They had a killer conference that showed off Indiana Jones and a few other titles, including Hellblade, that are coming this year. Looked like all things are up. Still looks good, but we've heard some heavy rumors that some big titles are eventually going to be finding their way to other systems like Nintendo and PlayStation. The rumors out there are that Xbox seems to be going third party. There are some rumors that sounds like they've been quelled that also say Xbox is getting out of the console business. Let's take it all with a grain of salt. But what are we getting? Phil Spencer tweeted out last week, "We're listening and we hear you. We've been planning a business update event for next week where we look forward to sharing more details with you about our vision for the future of Xbox. Stay tuned." So we're getting a special edition of the Xbox podcast this week, February 15th. Phil and co are going to talk about, we assume, these rumors and what is going on. So curious time, John. We've known for years that Microsoft has a different strategy with what Xbox is versus what the PlayStation is versus what Nintendo is. We know the consoles are kind of almost extra at this point. A recent report says PlayStation 5 is outselling the Series X and S by a 2-to-1 ratio. So what do you make of what we're going to get later this week? Do you think there's some legs to the rumors? Just hit me with your thoughts.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's so much. I think there's a lot to unpack here. So when these rumors started, it was kind of like I think they started because there were some reports that Game Pass numbers and console sales have really slowed down within the last 12 month for Xbox. So people started doing some digging into some Xbox data, and they found some like internal leaks that they were talking about bringing games like Hi-Fi Rush and the Gears of War games to competitive platforms is what they talked about there. And then as that digging was happening, they just kept finding more and more mentions of the possibility of bringing even more games. Like Pentiment is the biggest rumor now. Hi-Fi Rush keeps being on that list. And I think they just kind of led to some snowballing, some speculation that, well, is Xbox just going to start publishing everything third party? Like, are we going to get games like Starfield eventually coming to PlayStation? Are we going to get games like Indiana Jones launching day and date on PlayStation? Everything like that. And then I think the next place to speculate is, wait, is Xbox just going to start publishing software and getting out of hardware? A lot snowballed in a very short amount of time once these rumors started popping up. I don't think there's any chance Xbox gets out of hardware. It doesn't make any sense. The Xbox is not going to stop making Xboxes. People already aren't buying Xboxes for Xbox exclusives. Like that's not why somebody buys an Xbox Series X right now. It's not because they're excited for the next Halo or the next Gears of War or I guess Bethesda maybe, but like most people are buying an Xbox because they like the platform. They like the ecosystem. They love the controller. That's where their friends list is. That's where their achievements are. They probably love Game Pass a lot, right? Xbox, their exclusives already aren't exclusive. You can play all of them on PC. You can do you can do cloud. You can do all these things. So if Xbox were to make a move to start publishing all of their games on third party, I don't see how that affects the people who actually buy Xboxes at all. I think it's nothing but a win-win, especially after Xbox makes a huge purchase on a publisher like Bethesda and the biggest purchase of all time in a publisher like Activision. Why wouldn't they want to start publishing? Why wouldn't they want to get more into the publishing space? You mentioned it. Xbox has always kind of had a bit of a different strategy. They want to be everywhere. They want cloud. They don't care if you really have an Xbox. Play our games on PC. Stream them with xCloud, whatever. Now they have some of the biggest IP of all time with track records of some of the biggest sales of all time with games like Call of Duty and Overwatch and, of course, your Elder Scrolls and things like that. Why wouldn't they publish that everywhere?
Well, that's the thing, John. So those games are already, for the most part, going to stay on every system that imaginable, right? Like Call of Duty, they have signed a 10-year agreement to basically keep it elsewhere, not exclusive. So if you think about that, you think about some of the Diablo, you could go down the list for some of the games and franchises that they acquired. It makes sense. Like, get your investment back, right? Don't limit yourself to making those exclusive to Xbox. In addition to that, do you pivot and throw a game like a Gears of War out there? It's crazy. It almost seems sacrilegious to see Gears of War on a PlayStation 5 or 6 whenever we get it, but to me it sounds kind of cool. Just saying. Like,
Yeah.
you can play Halo with a DualSense on PC. What if it was on PlayStation?
With
Oh my
trophies, with
god.
crossplay. I think Xbox they've already crossed that line of like having this sacred relationship with exclusives. Like PlayStation very much has. They have this sacred relationship with like, no, if you want to experience God of War and The Last of Us, you have to do it on PlayStation, and that's not going to change anytime soon. That is a business model that works for them. There are fans like that. The games run well because of that. Like they've got this ecosystem on lock, and that's the way they're going to do it for a while until the industry until the industry changes and they can't do that anymore if that happens. Xbox hasn't had that since, I don't know, I can't remember the last time Xbox was in a market position where people were buying that box for exclusives. We've talked about it, about how cool that would be if Xbox had this slate of exclusives that made us really want to play our Xboxes and you know, have experiences that were only available there. But I can't remember the last time it was actually true. Right? Maybe the early Xbox 360 days when you had games like
the 360 days.
Right. And you think about that, those were all partnerships. Those were all second party games for the most part. I mean, you had your Halo and Gears. Those were obviously very big, and those were the first iterations of those games. So like, don't want to discredit that. They had good exclusives too, but your BioShocks and your Mass Effects, those games were second party published deals, and it was great. I mean, they did what they want, and they did the smart thing, and they got people playing Xbox because they had exclusive games. That's what we're talking about, right? They have not done that in a very long time. That has not been Xbox in a very long time.
It felt like that's where they were heading with buying all these studios in the last 6-7 years. But with Activision in particular, those games are just, those IPs are too big to remove where you make those exclusive for a number of reasons. But like games like Indiana Jones, it's not a brand new IP, but for video games it is, right? Like that to me could be an exciting exclusive. Or Starfield's been the discussion lately, like that may be coming to PS5 at some point. It's all speculation, but I like the idea of having exclusives on Xbox. I also like their possible strategy of throwing these games everywhere. The clincher to me is, yeah, you can play our game on PS5. You could play it on day one with your Game Pass on any series console, on your phone, on your PC, right? Like, I think that model will work for them. I think it's fine. Plus, you'll get the extra revenue from systems like PlayStation or even Nintendo, depending on what they do with the next iteration of the Switch. We had the discussion earlier in the group chat. It's not the same if PlayStation were to all of a sudden be like, hey, you can play God of War and The Last of Us on an Xbox. It's not the same. John, you summed it up perfectly. PlayStation in video games, they're Apple. They've created an ecosystem. They've created a brand that is exciting. You and I are paying $200 for the Portal. I'm probably not doing that for a lot. There you go, right there, handy as always. I think you and I are probably not doing that for a lot of gaming ecosystems. They have made it cool. It's what Disney does. They sell a feeling. I don't actually love a lot of Disney content. Some I do, but you know what? I love walking around Disney World because I feel good. That is exactly what Sony has done with PlayStation since the PS4. That was their destination, with coming up with that incredible slew of exclusives that started in the probably 2015 and later as we got closer to the PS5 generation. And now they've taken that momentum and wrote it into this next generation. And I think they will into the PS6 if they continue doing what they're doing. So it's an interesting discussion. I'm very curious to see what Phil and crew talk about on the 15th. Super interesting that they're like, hey, we hear you. We're going to talk about it.
Yeah, in a podcast format, that makes me think there's going to be a lot of minutia. There's going to be a lot of explanation, a lot of not speculation, but a lot of if this then that kind of talk. So what I hope happens is they just rip the band. And again, this is not coming from a place of malintent, which a lot of people think it is, because I think Xbox will thrive from this. I think the best idea for them is just to publish their games everywhere. Publish Indiana Jones day one on PlayStation, bring Starfield over, bring the Halo Master Chief Collection over, bring the Gears of War games over, bring them all over to PlayStation, and whatever can work on Switch, bring them there. You still have Game Pass. You still have people that love the Xbox ecosystem for all of those reasons I just listed. And you have the allure that, yes, you can buy those games for $70 on PlayStation, or you can have them all with the subscription you need to play online on here on Xbox. I think it's a no-brainer. I don't see what they lose by doing that. Obviously, it's going to cost a lot. They've got to add the development resources to get those games ported over, but chip away at that. I think that is a no-brainer. What I think will happen, that's what I want to happen. What I think will happen is more about what you're more like what you're talking about, where it's like, yeah, we're open to, we're going to bring more games to more platforms, and we're going to do it on a case-by-case basis. They'll probably talk a lot about how a game like Indiana Jones is a very valuable brand to keep on Xbox, and maybe a game that has lineage like Gears of War might be something that it's time to show that to the rest of the world, and let's give players on a different platform a taste of what Xbox is all about. In smaller games, yeah, let's bring games like Hi-Fi Rush. Those games didn't get enough eyes on them. Let's bring those over to the Switch. I think it's going to be a lot of conversations like that, and it's going to be a lot of case-by-case scenarios.
I also think that it's fair for them to do that case by case.
Sure.
Like, you don't have to go hog wild and put a blanket on it and say everything is coming or nothing is, right? Like, go case by case. The Hi-Fi Rush would benefit greatly from being available across the board.
Right.
Like, that was a very good game that was only on Xbox. So let's talk about it, right? I'd be curious to see Starfield. People were pissed when they heard that was not coming to PlayStation, right? Like, ended up scoring okay, and to different degrees of quality, I guess, but
it scored great. I think it's sitting at an 87 still. It scored really well, but I think critics thought it was a great game. Fans thought it was just kind of more of the same, Bethesda wise.
For sure. So we'll regroup and talk next episode and see what they've got to say. Speaking of massive companies, Disney. Oh my gosh, Disney to take a $1.5 billion stake in Epic Games. From CNBC, a few key points here. Disney is investing $1.5 billion for an equity stake in Epic Games, makers of Fortnite, in its biggest jump yet into the gaming world. The media giant will work with the Fortnite gaming studio on new games and an entertainment universe. Disney has previously collaborated with Epic to bring characters from Marvel, Star Wars, The Nightmare Before Christmas, Tron, and more to Fortnite. Whoa. So, John, one thing I got to say before you dive into this. I've played Fortnite 3 times. It was every year for Geeks Give Back. Daisy and I played the Lego version of it, which has come out because that is so perfectly kid-friendly and just fun for us to do and relaxing. They've, from a casual observer standpoint, which is me, I am blown away at how they constantly reinvent themselves without taking away what made everyone love Fortnite to begin with. I think it evolves, it adds characters, it's always hot, it's always fresh. You get Lego in there, you get Rock Band in there. There's some crazy stuff really going on. Now we got Disney really saying we want our piece of that pie. What is that going to look like? Like, this is a game changer for some.
It is. First of all, let's talk about what you just mentioned there. Fortnite is one of the best games of all time. It will go down as one of the best games of all time. We're talking 7 years. This game, Fortnite Battle Royale, launched in 2017, and it has not been dethroned in 7 years. That's unheard of. It doesn't happen. That does not happen. It takes Call of Duty a stretch of 7 years with new $60 SKUs each year. And every other year there's probably a miss, especially these days. They had a good run for like 5 or 6 years where Call of Duty was the king, right? But Fortnite is a one SKU free-to-play game that has done it for 7 years straight, and they've shown no signs of slowing down. It's unheard of. It's unreal what they've been doing. You're right. They reinvent themselves. They're not afraid to take risks. They're not afraid to change mechanics and completely get rid of the map that everybody loves in the middle of in the middle of them loving it at the peak of its popularity, and they get the backlash, but then people realize, crap, this is fun. Like, they made a good call. Then they bring back that old map that everyone loved a few years later. Like, it's so impressive. And yeah, this Disney collaboration makes too much sense. It's just a platform that's just ripe for properties. You go into Fortnite right now and you pull up the store and you'll see a whole page of Marvel characters, DC characters. You'll see Family Guy. You'll see Futurama and Dune characters. Like it's absolute John Wick, Alan Wake, literally every property you can think of has had a crossover with Fortnite. So Disney, being the biggest property owner of all time, saying, wait a minute, let's make this official. Like let's get in bed with these guys. Let's do a tiny little investment of $1.5 billion and let's put ourselves in bed with these guys. Did you watch the little trailer of like what this could be? The thought, the little splash, quick trailer about this.
No, I did not.
So they put out this little conceptual, like what this is going to be. The plan is to make like this Disney Epic Games universe where you kind of just can exist, and there's going to be games within games. They had this like hub world that like branched out into different maps, and it's kind of unclear as to whether or not this is going to live within Fortnite or if it's going to be like kind of like its own game that comes out and is this like Disney / Epic hub. Kind of like right now with Fortnite, you have Fortnite Battle Royale, the main game. You've got Lego Fortnite. You've got the racing one, the Rocket League collaboration, and then you've got the Fortnite Festival, which is literally like Guitar Hero and Rock Band for Fortnite. Fortnite has made 5 like big games within Fortnite. The thought is that this Epic Games thing, or this Disney thing, is going to be like a separate. Here's all these different Disney games you can play within Fortnite or within Epic, whatever this ends up being, whatever this collaboration ends up being, and there's this big hub world. Bob Iger talked about a marketplace for digital goods, which is like skins and stuff like that probably, but he said even physical goods could be on the table. Like they're gonna make this like a live service place to exist. Like I wouldn't be surprised if we get a virtual Disney World within this. Virtual Disneyland with like virtual rides, like VR integration probably. There's going to be events like parades, like, literally they could do like daily parades that you like have to be there at 1 p.m. or 6 p.m. for. Think about the kids coming home every day. I want to see the Mickey parade in front of the Magic Kingdom today because it's on every day at 6 p.m. Think about that kind of stuff. They could really do something special and make a real big splash here. I think that we're in for something huge.
So that was the first thing I thought of when I heard about this. I was like, oh my gosh, they can make Disney World there. And then think about the allure of that. It doesn't replace the real Disney World. It makes people want to go there and see the thing in person. It's like when Galaxy's Edge became a thing. You're like, oh my gosh, I get to go on the Millennium Falcon. It wasn't the other way around, right? Or I get to go make a lightsaber as opposed to seeing it on screen or playing it in a video game. Yeah, this is going to be huge. With all the titles that they just released there, I can't help but think, I'm sure this was in the works for a while, but it's funny timing. You could see Disney being like, you guys just brought all these properties in, whether it was Rocket League or Rock Band or Lego. Like, what if we did that? What if it was the Disney brand? And Epic's never going to say no to that, especially for that price tag. It's quite impressive to see that is the next leg of this. And with Epic running the show, with Disney properties, essentially, that's going to be a can't miss, I think.
I totally agree. It's two like super giants in their space, and they've already been working very closely with each other. I mean, there was literally an entire season of Fortnite that was all Marvel characters. There was when Endgame came out, there was this huge event with Thanos and stuff like that. So like they're in bed with them with Star Wars. There's Star Wars events every time there's a new Star Wars TV show, Obi-Wan or Ahsoka. There's something going on Star Wars inside of there. So like. Man, yeah, imagine like there's this hub world and it's like this Fortnite hub world, but then there's the Star Wars world and then there's the Marvel world, then there's literally Disney World. Like the amount of stuff, like the live events they could do, the potential this has is kind of scary and really exciting.
It is super exciting. I can't wait to see where it goes. My money would be on it being a part of the existing Fortnite hub. But if it is its own game too, that's totally fine. Either way, this is going to make a lot of money for both companies.
For sure.
And honestly, that's going to bring in it's funny to say bring in people for basically the biggest video game in the world, right? Like there's people I know who haven't ever touched a video game, but are like, yeah, I'm playing Fortnite later on my phone. Like, yeah. But that has transcended gaming,
right? And again, you're right. How many more people are there to bring into it? Obviously, there's always people, but it's just it's making big moves like this to bring people back that fell off. It happens to me every season. Every season, I fall off of Fortnite, and maybe I'll go like 2 seasons where I'm like, yeah, that doesn't seem like it's for me. I'll always hop in, check out the new updates and stuff like that. I don't always stick around for the full season, but when it's big stuff like this, when they brought back the OG map, the remake of season 10 and stuff like that, like I get hooked on Fortnite all the time. Like, since 2017, there's probably been a dozen times where I've come back to Fortnite and it has been my main game again for months. So doing stuff like this is going to get players back in a big way.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's super exciting. Huge news this week, obviously, with Disney and Epic and Xbox. We'll see what happens just a few days' time with Xbox. But John, before we wrap up this episode of Busy Sticks, we've got some new mini games here. This is a new segment that we started a few episodes back. We've had some fun with it. You got to see me take down Rashawn. It was totally wonderful. It was pretty sweet. We did kind of a little mini draft within the episode. So go check out our last episode of Busy Sticks, whether that's on youtube.com/the Geekiverse or you're listening wherever you download podcasts. John, I'm going to pass it over. What do we got on the docket here? I know we've got some possibilities.
Yeah, you got two options for you. So I've got a regular size mini game, which will take us a few minutes or so, and like normal. And then I've got a quick one. If you're tired, if you're just looking to get out of here, I got a quick one for you. Dealer's choice. What do you prefer? Oh, Rashawn's in chat. He's not happy about it, about that loss he took last week. Oh, remake gotcha, buddy. Remake gotcha.
Yeah, that was closer to an 8 out of a 10. Just saying. But anyway, let's go with the regular size mini game.
We're gonna go with the regular size mini game. All right. So this week, Josiah, what you're doing is you're gonna try to give me the top 10 Xbox 360 games according to Metacritic. Do you think?
Oh gosh!
You think you can do it?
Oh, John, I know I can do it.
Wow. All right. So you've got some help. You've got 15 guesses for 10 spots, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but you also have 3 hints. So I've got a graphic up on the screen with 3 hints. The hints are my face, which is I think a really, really cool touch we got going on here. You got pretty hints here. You've got, so you'll see this when it posts. It looks cool. But yeah, so you've got 15 guesses and you've got 3 hints you can use at any point. I don't have these hints predetermined. I'm going to look at what you got left. I'm going to make something up on the fly. But Joe,
got it.
Can you get me the top 10 Xbox 360 games according to Metacritic?
I really wish I wasn't wearing this jacket right now. It's going to be really embarrassing if I don't get there.
I was about to do PS4 until I saw the jacket. I made an audible on the fly.
Okay, Xbox 360. I only have my phone out so I can keep track with notes here of what I've said.
I trust you. I fully trust you.
Okay. Let's go. I'm gonna go off the beaten path here a little bit. BioShock.
Joe's first guess is BioShock. BioShock is our number 3 game on the list.
Woo! All right.
You've got number 3 done.
Sweet. Okay. I'm gonna go Mass Effect 2.
Mass Effect 2. Interesting you'd go with the second one, but it pays off for you because it's clearly the best one. That's our number 5. Good start.
Okay. All right. I like that. Yeah, Mass Effect 2 is the one. Like they're all great to varying degrees, but 2 is the one where people are like
For sure.
Okay. Let's do We'll go Halo 3.
Halo 3 just missed the list. I want to say it was sitting at number 13.
Shoot. Okay. So we got a miss there. How about we'll go Oblivion.
Oblivion. Was that Elder Scrolls 3, 4? Oblivion is not on the list.
Really? I find that hard to believe. Okay.
Take it up with Metacritic, not me.
Well, we'll go to Skyrim after that.
That's a good place to go. Skyrim is number 6 on the list. You're down to 10 guesses, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spots left.
Okay.
And you have all 3 hints.
Let's do between gosh. I'm going to shoot myself in the foot because I'm not sure which one of these that I'm thinking in my head would be higher, but I'm gonna go with Fallout 3.
Fallout 3 is a good guess, but it's not on the list.
Gosh. All right, we're struggling here.
Down to 9.
Let's go Limbo. Oh, John, you're on mute.
Thank you. Limbo, a great game, one that I'd put here, but Metacritic doesn't agree.
What is going on? Okay.
Down to 8.
This is ridiculous.
Again, you got those 3 hints, Josiah.
I know, but I was gonna save them. 360. Oh, GTA 5.
Good guess. GTA 5 is number 2.
Oh my gosh. I thought you were going to say not on the list and I was about to lose it. Okay.
So you're missing 1, 4, and then 7 through 10.
Okay. What about GTA 4?
It's a good guess. GTA 4 is the number 1 game on the list.
Let's go.
Number 1 and 2 spots going to GTA 4 and 5.
All right. Next, we're going to go Red Dead Redemption.
Red Dead Redemption. I like that guess myself. And there's a good reason for it. It's number 7 on the list.
I was going to say no way. Okay. We're rolling here, a little hot streak.
You're rolling. Yeah, you've got 5 guesses left and you've got 4 games.
4 games to guess?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you're missing 4, 8, 9, and 10.
I was gonna go into like Fable, but I don't think that those necessarily one of those hit too high.
You're doing really well. We'll tell you.
I appreciate it. I'm just like going through like the era of the 360.
Yeah. This is a free hint. This is kind of just like an observation on the list. There's really no surprises here. It's a good list. There's no curveballs.
That's good. I don't think any is seeing the list we've got. I don't think any Assassin's Creed, even in its heyday, would have gotten there. Of course, some of these I'll eat my words for when we chop up the TikTok for later. I don't think any other BioShocks would have made it. I'm undecided on the original Mass Effect. I don't know if it's quite top 10 if like Limbo didn't make it. To me, that's crazy. I'm really surprised that's not on there. Okay, so Halo 3 is not on there. That's the best Halo, at least from a scoring standpoint, I think. No Oblivion. We got Skyrim. I don't know if the. All right, I'm gonna guess this before I start getting into hint territory because we're getting down to it. Fallout New Vegas.
I like that guess. Metacritic does not. We're down to 4. It's not on the list. You've got 4 guesses and 4 games remaining.
Okay. I'll take my first hint.
Okay. So the hints are gonna be game specific, okay?
Okay.
This Xbox exclusive was talked about heavily on today's episode.
Oh no. Which one do I want to go with? Okay. Let's go. I'm gonna go with Gears of War 3.
Gears of War 3 is not on the list.
No.
So I think we're mathematically eliminated from completing the list, but let's see how close you can get.
Okay.
Again, 2 more hints. Take them.
2 more hints for sure. Can I take a hint, but for a different game?
Yeah.
Which sounds funny to
absolutely.
ask.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
You're going to do that?
Yes.
You're going to use another hint. I'm going to use it on a different game. This game is part of one of your favorite franchises of all time. One of Josiah Leroy's favorite franchises of all time.
I haven't guessed the 4th best.
You haven't guessed 4, 8, 9, or 10.
Batman Arkham City.
Batman Arkham City is the number 9.
Okay. Oh wow. Okay.
It's down there, but hey, you got it. Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna come back before I take another hint.
Okay.
I have 2 guesses left.
2 guesses, 3 games.
Got it. Okay.
So yeah, you're technically tapped out, but we'll see how close you can get.
So I'm gonna go Gears of War 2.
Wasn't 2. It was not Gears of War 2.
You gotta be kidding me. Okay. So we're gonna go away from that one. I got one left.
You have 1 hint left too.
Yep. Give me the hint.
Let's see. Which hint is more fun? This is an infamous GameCube exclusive.
We're gonna go with Portal 2.
Portal 2 is the correct answer. Is the correct answer. Of course, that is an inside joke. If viewers are currently confused.
So when you said infamous, I'm like,
wait, what?
It's on PlayStation. All right, so okay, I lost the game, but how many did I get?
So you got 8 of 10, which is great. That's really good with 15 guesses. Okay. That's really good. Oh,
okay.
Yeah. So you're missing number 4 and number 10. So you know what one of them is. I'm pretty sure.
Gears of War 1.
Gears of War 1 is the one you missed there.
I'm blown away that is the highest rated Gears of War.
Yeah.
Like I think that's wrong, but it is what it is. It's a fact according to Metacritic.
Yeah, Gears of War 1 scored a 94. I don't see so Gears of War 2 is the next best. And a 93. There's a bunch of 93s in between those as well, so it's not like they're neck and neck, but they are only separated by 1 point on Metacritic. So that was number 10.
3.
Gears of War 3 is not on the front page, I'll tell you that. But it still could be in the 90s. Gears of War 3. I
was between 2 and 3. I kept going back and forth. Obviously said 3 first. But.
Gears 3 was a 91. So they all great games.
They were all really good.
Yeah, 91, 93, 94. Like what a trilogy right there. You kidding me? You're missing the number 4 game. This was the toughest one without a doubt. I would have been surprised if you had gotten this one without a hint. But since you were already mathematically limited, I was trying to give you some of the more fun ones.
Sure, that makes sense.
This was a bundle. This game was a bundle.
The orange box?
Yeah, the orange box was sitting.
I would have never gotten there without a hint.
Yeah, right. And again, if you were still in,
you could have said Portal as a part of this.
Right, I could have. Yeah, that one may have been a little bit too on the nose. I probably would have gone with the bundle, which probably still would have gotten you there.
Or if you gave a hint, which probably would have gave it away. Like said anything to do with color, I probably would have gotten to orange box.
Sure.
But on my own, I would not have gotten there.
That's probably the one that
it's not a game in my head.
Understand?
You know?
I'm with you. I probably would have never gotten there either. But that's a great list. You've got GTA 4, GTA 5, BioShock, The Orange Box, Mass Effect 2, Skyrim, Red Dead Redemption, Portal 2, Arkham City, and Gears of War. Banger top 10 for the Xbox 360.
Dude, the 360. My gosh. One of my favorite generations for sure. Favorite consoles in general, minus that freaking Red Ring of Death.
I know, right? I had 6 of those things. I sent it back 5 times. I had a relationship with the UPS guy. He's like, dude, again? I'm like, again.
I did it again, bro. Oh my gosh. Hey, John, that was so much fun.
Good effort. That's I'm glad that one worked out. That was a good effort for. I wasn't sure if 15 was the right amount of guesses, so I did the 3 hints. I think that's maybe we do 20 next time. We'll see. It's always a work in progress.
That was a good ratio. Now, if you had done like, well, no, Nintendo Switch, I would have been competitive with. I think like Nintendo Switch, I might have needed 20 games for.
Right,
But
because that
if you did
system is so
PS3 or
stacked.
4. I think I would have been close again if you gave 15. So I feel like for me that was a good ratio.
Hey, maybe we'll be back one day with the Xbox One or the PS3, the PS4. Who knows? Maybe we try the PlayStation Vita. We'll never know.
Yeah, I would need like a lot.
I could do that one. I could probably.
There's only so many games.
I can probably do that in 11.
We'll have to see. Guys, that was so much fun. John, thanks for providing the game there again. Mini games, our favorite new segment here at the Geekiverse on Busy Sticks. We're going to wrap this episode up, but before we do, John, any closing thoughts, any send off, anything to promote before we get to next week at all?
I'm just excited to hear about this Xbox thing. We probably won't get a chance to do like a reaction this week, I don't think, but I will do one on TikTok. And Joe, if you have some time, maybe we'll throw some thoughts together for a quick social video. So excited to see what they're going to talk about.
Me too. It's always a pleasure to hear what Phil Spencer's got to say, even if the branding as a company has been all over the place in the last 10 years. Phil Spencer, one of the coolest guys in gaming. I am excited to hear what we're going to hear there. I hope it's so funny, the thought behind, what Xbox news are we going to get? Every time PlayStation or Nintendo goes to drop a direct, any announcements, anything at all, I'm always like, yes, this is going to be epic. With Xbox, I always feel like I've got one eye open where I'm like, what are we going to be getting? Please don't shoot yourselves in the foot. But as longtime Team Green fans like John and myself, we want to see Xbox succeed, and it's good for the gaming industry. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode of Busy Sticks. You can join us each and every week here, wherever you download podcasts, or if you're watching, we always stream these live at youtube.com/thegeekiverse and twitch.tv/thegeekiverse. Get involved in the chat. We love having you there. We're going to get back to more Busy Sticks as well as the MCU reviewed. We've got Black Widow next. If you like catching up on the Marvel movies, we're getting into phase 4 there and can't wait to do so. So for my good friend John, I'm Josiah. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll catch you next week.